Konnichiwa, minasan. Boku wa N107 coming at you from Richie Rich Labs. Today, we're going to talk about Scarlet Nexus, which it's been a little while. Trust me, I've taken a while because I wanted to find a spot that brings a good balance between gameplay and cutscene because, like it or not, this is a Japanese game. And for those of you who know, some Japanese games, quite a few of them, tend to be half gameplay, half movie, if you know what I mean. Give me a thumbs up and then leave a comment in the comment section below. But anyway, finally I found a spot where I think the game finally took off for me. I think this is where I kind of said, you know what? I like this game because it took me a whole hour to be like, I don't know if it's worth $60, but we're talking about performance. And let me tell you, it's pretty good. Let's check it out. Mimashou ka? So, as I was saying at the beginning, I struggled with this game for the first hour because it's just too much cutscenes, you know? Those of you who will know, it's just half cutscenes, half gameplay, and I'm like, where's the advanced combat gameplay that I read online about? But before I talk more about that, 60 FPS on the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S, and you're looking at probably dynamic 4K on the Xbox Series X and 1440p dynamic on the Xbox Series S. Only it might not be dynamic because, as you can see on the left, Xbox Series X is experiencing drops to high 40s. Not often, but it does happen. Usually it's mid 50s. And then Xbox Series S on the right, it experiencing drops too, but not as intense as the Xbox Series X. Yet there are some intense sections where it drops to low 50s. Yet nothing too big, except right there it drops to 0 because there's a whole cutscene and then it starts, reverting back. Because the cutscenes in this game, they're sort of a animated anime manga thingy. And I personally like them a lot. I think that's pretty cool, especially just the voice acting. I played in Japanese because, to be honest, the Japanese pacing by itself, I can't really bear it enough that I need to add a little bit more spice to it, and when it comes with Japanese, then I'm like, okay, it's worth it. It's not necessarily bad in my opinion. I'm just saying it's not my piece of pie, So anyway, I was able to finally, around this point in the game, by the way, I'm going to show you the Xbox One X and the Xbox One S real soon. Just stay put with me. It's about halfway through the video, but the game finally at this point showcased the invisibility ability and then the duplication ability for your telekinesis attacks. And then I was like, okay, it's clicking. This game is starting to show its complexity. I would say for beginners, and I apologize for my throat, and if I sound a little weird, it's just apparently I'm catching a cold or something, but hopefully it's not the COVID word here. But anyway, I've had that earlier, so I'm not expecting to have it again. But anyway, so the thing is, the game finally, at the beginning, I think it spoon feeds you too much, in my opinion. The tutorial have this weird way to cancel the tutorials, to get rid of that window, which is annoying. You'll know what I'm talking about once you're used to it. It double confirms that you want to close the tutorial, and I'm like, duh, I want to close it. But anyway, besides those points, so far I'm liking it, and I'm no longer regretting pre-ordering this game. I'm actually intrigued now, and I'm gonna get done with the recording of this video and I'm gonna go play it. But Xbox One X and Xbox One S here, you're looking at what I believe is dynamic 4K on the Xbox One X, and then the Xbox One S is definitely not 1080p. Might be dynamic, but I personally think it's just straight out 900p. I'll have more details on that stuff on streamingliveacademy.com with a written version of this video, so I invite you to check that one out and support the team. But anyway, that's what we're playing with, 30 FPS on the Xbox One X and also 30 FPS on the Xbox One S. As you can see, some drops here and there, especially on the Xbox One X. There is some intense scene on the left, and then maybe one frame on the Xbox One S. So honestly, with how it performed on the Xbox Series X and Series S, I was expecting it to be a little more, how do I say this, less good, worse on the older consoles, dropping more often. But so far on this section, it looks pretty good. So So with VRR or FreeSync, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a smooth game on the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S, and I believe that VRR and FreeSync do help you with 30 FPS titles, and so if that is true, then you're gonna have a smooth 30 FPS here because it's not diverting below 30 pretty much most of the time, except going above it, which I prefer things to go above 30 than below it. Anyway, besides those, resolution on the Xbox One S is really low. But then again, that's usual for that console, and it's just something I don't like because it looks really, really blurry and it feels almost like a different game. But on the Xbox One X, you're getting supreme sharpness. It is beautiful, still running at 30, of course, but definitely a huge upgrade, day and night difference. But, oh, the cutscenes. The cutscenes also, they seem to take a toll on the hard drive or something of the Xbox One S. A little bit on the Xbox One X, but definitely the Xbox Series X and Series S play the cutscenes a little smoother, which I was surprised because they're mostly static. But for some reason, Xbox One S suffers quite a bit with frame pacing, frame time, dropping FPS. No screen tearing though, so that's good, but definitely you'll see here on the graph, that's why the graph went crazy wacko up and down, because just the frame timing is off. And then the Xbox One X is able to keep it a little better, but mostly because it's just going above its 30 FPS limit rather than dropping compared to the Xbox One S. But besides that major problem there, once you play, honestly, the game is playable. Definitely for harder difficulties, if you're one of those completionists, I would argue that it is going to be harder, a lot harder on the lower FPS than on the higher end consoles. But besides that, if you just want to have a good, sort of unique new IP, you know, with new stuff as to new world, I wouldn't call this great game revolutionary as to this never been done before, but definitely I would say it is unique enough that it's fresh. You know, I like the aesthetic. When you move your camera, when you move the camera around, the icons, your heads-up display, your HUD, your health bar and other stuff will sort of react a little bit to your movement of the camera. The art style is really, like, I guess cyberpunky, futuristic, I don't know, man. The whole concept of like the government decides what you can see so they can blur out stuff, and then the character development, honestly, can be a little confusing because there's so many of them being thrown at you, yet it's quality. So anyway, I'm gonna leave you with a bit of the music because I really like the music soundtrack for this game. The soundtrack is chill. It's like a lo-fi, futuristic, punky music, and I like it. Anyway, I'm in World 7 for Richie Rich Labs. Let me know what you think about this game in the comment section below. Till next time, peace. Sayonara.
したいと読み直している読み直しているだけが読み直している読み直している